Ahoy, fellow MILFs.
And welcome aboard The Joy of Trek, an amorous podcast exploring the upper pylons, and guest quarters, of Star Trek, all of it. I'm Kaki.
I'm Kay.
And dealing with irate ambassadors is your chief engineer, Greg.
Together, we're on a mission through the Cardassian alloys of Star Trek to find the dog in every computer. Excellence in every episode.
Even the condescending Vulcans.
Because every episode must be someone's favorite, and it might as well be us.
So swim through Odo's body and join us as we melt into the
joy of
Trek.
Thank you and welcome, dear listeners.
Yes, welcome aboard. We're doing The Forsaken this time.
DS9 Season 1 Episode 17.
Yeah. Back in the early days of DS9, when the first time that there was concurrent Star Trek on television.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
In which Lwaxana and Odo are forced to go onto a picnic by a friendly computer program, whereas Dr. Bashir attends a barbecue with the rest of the ambassadors.
Oh, God, that's amazing. Chief, he nailed it, didn't he?
Kay did nail it, so I'm going to have to rewrite Memory Alpha because I'm sorry, but an alien computer program wreaks havoc with the system stations during a visit from Lwaxana, Troi, and other ambassadors is not nearly as fun as what Kay just said.
Yeah, I think no corrections needed there. Absolutely brilliant, yeah. Oh, first aired on May 23rd, 1993. The Forsaken was written by Don Carlos Dunaway and Michael Piller, directed by Les Landau, and guest starring, obviously, Majel Barrett Roddenberry, as I believe she went by at the time, the luminous Lwaxana Troi, who, she's a complicated woman.
Oh, very, yes.
And not universally beloved by all, but certainly a lot by me.
Ah, yes. Because I love that line that she had. Like, I never cared much to be ordinary.
God, oh my, yeah, that line gets me every time.
Yes.
Like this exposure to the inner workings of a character that, I don't know that she's a stereotype. I think there's certainly an archetype argument can be made.
I mean,
but Lwaxana, I just love her.
I mean, a lot of episodes which show her behavior and the way it is, like they tend to have a little bit of a introspective moment about her.
Certainly the ones that we remember, yeah.
Yeah.
Now, there is a callback to, I think, her first appearance in Star Trek. The Next Generation was Menage a Troi.
Right.
Where she and her daughter are kidnapped by Ferengi.
Oh,
yes. Which is mentioned here, which I don't actually have a lot of memories about. I don't know how that...
No, I barely recall it.
How that went. But we did see Odo doing the same thing that Picard does whenever she's around, which is sort of poke his head out of a door to check if the coast is clear,
Yes.
and then trying to retreat.
Like, damn it.
I'm afraid I'm not available. I have to get to Upper Pylon 3 immediately.
Oh, yeah. And she says, so do I.
Yes. What do you know?
I've always wanted to see an upper pylon.
So that's what the kids are calling it these days.
Oh, right. So,
The Forsaken was recommended.
Oh, yes, of course.
Yeah. To us by, Rugger.
Oh, very good.
Friend of the show. They've recommended episodes to us before. I was really delighted in their perspective. The Forsaken has its problems as an episode, including that Troi's advances are uncomfortable to watch. But in all of Trek, there is no more emotionally raw, powerful, and moving scene than in The Forsaken. Odo and Lwaxana are stuck in the elevator, and Odo has to revert to his natural liquid state and has to trust Lwaxana to do it. This is Trek at its best, taking something fundamentally alien and using it to humanize a character. Almost every other time an alien evokes such pathos, they're being human. As Kirk says to Spock, he was the most human.
Oh, yes.
Odo's character arc is one of the best in Trek, and this episode starts off with the most unique, iconic, and moving scene that I can think of in all sci-fi, while also developing a character who was previously only comedic relief. Whoa, that's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, Odo only comedic relief?
No, Lwaxana.
Oh, Lwaxana, yes, of course, yes.
Yeah, Odo, I don't think was very funny.
No, I mean, the shenanigans with Quark were often
deeply homoerotic. Oh, no, yeah, okay, funny also. Yeah.
It was just the sheriff always leaning hard on the slightly... Well, he is a big softie in the end, you know. Odo.
Oh yeah, it turns out it's
Every 16 hours, like he goes all mushy.
okay. That's honestly, it's better than a lot of us.
Oh.
Shall we warp into today's episode?
Unless we have any warp cores.
Do you?
I don't think I did. No.
Yeah.
No, there's like it kind of escapes me why the manual release only works after the computer is restored, but that's about it.
It's not exactly a warp core to dump or anything. Still haven't got a plasma vent sound effect yet. But this is very 90s science fiction television, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Because technically, like, Odo and Lwaxana being stuck in an elevator is like the B plot, maybe even the C plot. After the computer shenanigans and the diplomats.
It's not how I experience it. To me, it's the A plot.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
Because the other two just are fucking nothing. They're completely
Right.
like there's no peril, nor should there.
Well,
frankly,
I mean, the fire corridor on fire. That's kind of perilous.
right. Well, I mean, the main characters on most of Star Trek are never in danger.
No.
And we kind of internalize that. We go along with the sort of fiction. Oh, there's terrible danger. The crew are in mortal peril, and we clutch our little pearls. But we
kind of know that nothing ever comes from it. Yeah. No, of course.
The Enterprise is not going to blow up on episode 17 of a 26-episode season, right?
True. They usually save those for the double-header season endings.
Yeah, but only as a way to get you to watch the next episode.
Of course, yes. All right, so let us warp into. Boy, that's loud.
Oh, yeah. Okay, gonna work on that a little bit more. I thought I had worked on it a bit, but then with the export, it always normalizes. Anyway, here we are. We start off very briskly, like within 2 seconds of fading in, we're already talking about...
Yes.
Station log, stardate 46925.1. We have been honored with a visit by a delegation of Federation ambassadors on a fact-finding mission to the wormhole. Fortunately, I have just the officer to take them off my hands.
Who else than a very young-looking Bashir?
Oh, he's such a sort of pleasing twink.
Milk mouth is what we would call it in Dutch, which you could kind of like translate into milk mouth. Yeah.
Milk toast, milk bone of an officer.
Milk toast is something else, I believe. That's
He's in Quarks with 3 very different ambassadors who are on a fact-finding mission.
Yes.
Now, what the fuck is a fact-finding mission?
I mean, usually that's I'd call that an inquiry, but that doesn't seem to hold water with what they're doing.
Why are they there? Which facts are they there to gather? And what is their expertise in gathering?
No idea.
Like,
I think they're just on a.
It's a sinecure, right?
Oh, I was going to say a junket, but
Oh, that's a great way to describe a fact-finding mission. Is like a photo op for more disposable and higher sort of profile diplomats.
So we have a Vulcan, a blue guy,
a
Bolian, whatever Madam Ambassador is, and of course Lwaxana Troi, as we later learn.
The Arbizon is so sexually repressed.
Oh, right. Yes.
Arbizon, that's what she is.
She is just basically put in a fuss. She wants bigger quarters than everybody else, and up to the point that, then you move out of your quarters then. She's just basically being a pain. Lwaxana, in the meanwhile, is enjoying herself at the Dabo table.
Yeah,
I think.
she's just gone gambling. Look at all of this. Oh, this is boring. I'm going for a Twix.
Yes. However, her hair brooch has gone missing.
Oh no.
Oh, my latinum hair brooch.
Quark?
I had
Immediately
just made my
Quark.
third straight cross. I was leaning across the table to pick up the dice again. Something brushed against me, and my God, I've been wigged.
Wigged? Not a term that I'm super familiar with. Is that
lifted, I guess. I mean, she's always wigged, but yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly because of that. I do like the language use. Quark shows up and points out a tiny sign above the door.
Right.
You'd have to stand on a chair to read that.
House rules. I'm very sorry. Have a nice day.
There's a warning up there, but she doesn't quite take it. She doesn't take it lying down. She's not pawned off so easily.
She just grabs him by the lobes and
informs him that
You are dealing with the daughter of the 5th householder of the sacred chalice of Reeks, heir to the holy rings of Beta Z.
My ear, please!
Yes, and I know where it hurts the most, you little troll. Now,
Oh, that's mean.
Well, the sacred chalice of Rix is just a little bit old dusty cup,
It's
really.
a dusty cup, mother.
Yes. But Odo intervenes.
Yes, much to Julian's delight.
Oh, yes.
Oh, thank goodness.
Finally a sensible adult. Just like us, Lwaxana, it's like, well, you know, you're a better set, aren't you? Can't you just, like, sense out the guilt? Who is the guilty party here in the room? But alas, nothing.
Yeah, she does have that moment like, oh yeah, I totally can do that. I'm totally not used to, like, doing work.
I can actually do something myself rather than just complain about it to other people. Yes. She does a little scan of the room and nothing, except, like, I can't read Ferengi.
And Odo comes to Quark's rescue here. He says, you know, he's plenty to be guilty of.
But he usually doesn't have to resort to petty theft to fleece his clients.
I love that. I love the emphasis on petty theft.
And Quark is genuinely proud.
Thank you.
But he
There's that lovely head wiggle. That
he
has to be a
spots another guy and cottons him, grabs him by the arm, orders him to empty his pockets, and it turns out to be a species which is destinedly related to the Ferengi. And lo and behold, the day is saved, the brooch is found, and Lwaxana has a new obsession.
Yep.
Doctor, I want to know everything there is to know about your security, Chief.
Yeah. O'Brien is fighting the computer because it's not having any of it, and like he does not like the way the Cardassians run things.
It's 13% below normal.
Cardassian specifications accept operating efficiency within 20%.
Well, I don't.
None of that we shall have.
Okay. I want to have a chat about, like, the relationship with the concept of computers.
Yes.
Like, how do you feel about the kind of expectations that Briano has of computers? Because, like, a computer system follows a set of rules. Mm-hmm. And if you know what those rules are, you always know what the response from a computer is going to be. Unless the input is really weird. So, like, feeling like the computer is resisting him, that just means that he doesn't know all the rules that the computer is following, right?
Well, that's partially the thing. Also, the way the computers around Star Trek are generally presented is more like general AIs, you know? Because we can tell the case. We can tell the computer to do complex things, you know. It's like, and then we can tell the computer to do things that the computer has never done before, and it'll still do them, you know. And it'll be like, you know, it's asking a lot. And yes, I do believe. I mean, I work in computers myself.
Exactly. Yeah.
And like, you know, if you could just tell the computer to configure the firewall so it works, then I would not have a job. You know, and that's the general level of the commands that the computers are usually given in Star Trek.
Yeah.
Fix it, basically. Yeah. It's a little bit more techno-babbly, but essentially it amounts to fix it.
Yeah, yeah. But,
and in this case, the computer...
But only after a sentient or a sapient person, I should say,
right,
identifies what the cause must be.
Right, yeah.
Right, that problem solving. I mean, we live now in the age of LLMs.
Yeah.
Which may be a flash in the pan,
That's
maybe
why I specifically
era-defining.
said general AI,
No, you're quite right.
Not generative.
Which shows that you can get a lot of those results just from statistical operations.
Right.
Like,
and of course, you run into the problem that, you know, ChatGPT will never give you no for an answer.
No, certainly. But like having recently had some experience with ChatGPT for the sort of code with which my diabolical new technology is manifest, like I ran into situations where I found that I was heading into dead ends if I kept asking it to implement solutions that I had imagined, you know, as someone who doesn't code.
Yeah.
And that I got a lot better results very often if I went back and just say what I actually wanted it to, what I wanted the results to be.
Right, yeah.
Like rather than how I thought code should.
It should get to that point, yes. But yeah, it even goes like...
Computer, analyze reactor 2 failure.
Reactor 2 was shut down after sensors detected a potential overload of the carbon reaction chambers.
Yeah.
Of the carbon reaction chambers, you mean the fireplace? I mean, that's a carbon reaction chamber sounds like a fireplace.
Yeah, you're quite right.
Also, it turns out that the carbon reaction chambers run on deuterium, which isn't carbon.
No, but Isn't it far more likely that there are unknown scientific processes at work than that there was a sort of minor oversight or just lack of scientific knowledge?
Maybe if the deuterium first is fused with itself several levels until it gets to carbon, and then when it gets to carbon, they set fire to it to get some of the energy back that they just spent on fusion.
So deuterium is
just heavy hydrogen.
Yeah, H with
with an extra electron.
Yeah, this is after I come back
with an extra neutron. Sorry.
Okay, and carbon is 8 protons. C8.
Yes.
On the periodic table.
Yeah.
Chief, thereabouts.
Yeah.
So K is correct that deuterium is called heavy hydrogen. Its symbol is 2H. However, you are wrong about carbon. Carbon is 6 on the periodic table. Oxygen is 8. Somewhere I can hear my chemistry teacher screaming at me that I did not remember off the top of my head that oxygen was 8 because of how important it was for all the stuff we were doing. But I forgot. It's been a while. Sorry.
Okay.
Thank you.
I think I was close.
I think it's 8, yeah.
So that's a lot of fusing you got to done before you get
exactly.
to 8.
It seems a little bit weird. But I guess maybe that's just how it works. Like, actually, the fusion reactions up until iron are actually energy positive. So maybe that's where they get the energy from, and then they have right in the end they have the little carbon reaction chamber, which is basically a little glass window with a griddle in front of it, which you fire burning to show to the operators that it actually works. That's not where the energy comes from. That's just to get rid of the carbon that the fusion process proceeds. So I guess that's going to be my headcanon now. It's like how the Kardashians work, because they're all about the slave. This basically the station was a slave camp as Terek Nor.
Yes.
So you have to have like hot slavering furnaces for people to like be threatened by.
That's true.
So it's all about the window dressing. So problem solved.
Yeah, there are wide tolerances for performance, but extremely specific requirements for manifestation. Here we get the first of, I think, several examples of Sisko's management style. Because he gets a lot of interactions with his employees as a manager. And it starts off with him just listening to the chief complaining. And I recognize this as a person who's worked with software development teams. Mm-hmm. I'm not a coder. Sort of listening to their problems, a lot of which I can't follow, but really, really paying attention to try and figure out where they are and what they need. And that's what Sisko's doing here. So even though, he has this whole sort of diatribe.
This is no computer. This is my arch enemy.
You've got it working just fine as far as I can tell.
Fine. With all due respect, Commander. As an engineer, I couldn't look at myself in the mirror if I allowed this computer to continue to perform as it is now.
Right? And that's just someone who really cares about their role, their job, their specialization, the thing that they're excellent at.
He wants to give it a root canal, tear it down, build it up, and it's not going to take him more than 2 or 3 years. That should do
better
it.
Get started.
Yes. And then he goes are you sure you need to do that? And then he goes yes, I need to. And I'm like, well, in that case, I support you. You do what you must do.
Exactly.
Maybe not take the station offline in the meantime, because we really can't have that offline for several years, but...
Sisko does ask, very sensibly...
That's going to take a lot of man-hours.
Yes.
Is it really necessary?
You don't understand.
Let's just say I don't have your sensitivity to the computer.
And Brian then gives up, which is maybe what he's used to with Picard, that he doesn't win these. And Sisko calls him back.
Chief, it's all right. It doesn't matter.
Chief, I want you to do what you have to do.
Right? And that's right.
True.
You called me over here as a command officer, right? I'm good at making decisions. You gave me a bunch of information. I asked a bunch of questions, but ultimately, you're the expert.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with what you think is necessary, and then we'll look at the consequences and see if they outweigh each other, and then we'll make the decision to go ahead and do it.
Yep.
Because this is not a get started on it right now in this 2 or 3 year project. This is more like put together a proposal about how we're going to do the computer upgrade and replacement. He's, however, interrupted with a oh my god, can I get out of here? No, it's too late. The ambassadors have already seen him.
Yeah, exactly. He does that double take, can I still... They've seen me, and I got to maintain Federation dignity.
Madam Ambassador whinges a little bit more about her quarters.
If I have to sleep another night on a Cardassian bed with gargoyles staring at me from the wood poles...
Commander.
But fortunately, saved by the bell, the wormhole is opening and an unmanned ship passes through.
Yeah. So we get to see the wormhole opening. Oh, such a wonderful, wonderful special effect. Very, very expensive. Get a lot of
I can imagine
mileage out of that one.
Yeah, well, they use it pretty much every time the ship goes in and out of the wormhole, which is not exactly every episode, but close.
And it got less as time went on, but
Right,
it still got
yes.
a lot of mileage out of it this time.
And it's in the opening sequence, of course.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
So, yes, the ambassador is like sufficiently unimpressed by, I thought it would be a bigger, more wormhole-y thing.
Yeah. And when Dax says that she can't figure out how to interface with its computer system, the Vulcan is kind of a little asshole about it.
Yeah.
Obviously, the young woman doesn't have the necessary experience. Perhaps I can...
The young woman over there has over 300 years' experience, Ambassador.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the deal with these ambassadors, right?
Still no clue. Like, really, and we're not going to solve that problem either, what the hell they're doing here on board DS9. They're just, like, being nosy. Like I said, they're just on a junket. They hadn't spent their travel budget yet from the ambassadorial delegations, and they decided to throw together a little. Where shall we go? Let's go on a fact-finding mission to DS9.
I think they're desperate to be useful, except for Lwaxana.
Right, possible. Yeah.
Right, and they know that they're not useful. That none of them have expertise that's really useful. Like the Vulcan, who knows? Maybe he's some kind of Vulcan prince. Maybe prince is what you get. Oh, yeah. Maybe royalty is what you're given if you fail your SATs too badly. Then we'll just make you a prince and you can just be important that way and definitely don't contribute anything to society.
Yeah. Except, ambassador, but
exactly.
Lots of ambassadorial posts, so they'll just shunt him off to an unimportant place.
Yeah, exactly.
Blue guy wants to get involved because, I am quite interested in first contact scenarios, and it just goes like, none of that.
In the meantime, Dr. Bashir, the best place to view this probe is from the docking ring near Port 7.
And I'll get you a briefing at 0400.
They get shuffled off, which suggests that they don't... 0400 is very early for a briefing. Which suggests that they're not on the standard time.
Bajoran time is 26 hours.
Right.
So for humans, that would require some rotation. I don't think we can tolerate a 26-hour day.
No, I think 25 is all right, though, but...
Yeah, that's just within tolerances, but yeah.
But I assume that the DS9 is running on Federation Standard Time.
No, regularly we hear 26 hours a day.
Okay, fair enough.
That they mention. So unless it's Bajoran, shorter hours, but
sure, yeah. Odo, in the meanwhile, is playing Candy Crush.
Yeah, he's playing, and she's so impressed.
Such concentration.
Well, she's leaning in his door frame. Oh, she spent so much time picking out this perfect outfit.
She is wearing quite something. It's like it's half see-through, half cover-up. It does a good job of accentuating her features.
And she wears it well, and she wears it with such
hair's gone
delight.
From pink to red now.
Yeah, she picked a new wig for him.
Oh yes, and I've got it written down as a Lwaxana Le Pew here.
Josephine. Yeah. She does have her eye on him and she's not subtle about it.
Not even in the slightest.
Rugger was very right to point out just that Lwaxana is divisive, and there are many who don't love her for various reasons. Some of which I don't really hold truck with, like there are people for whom, a sexual, mature woman with confidence
in its own right, yes,
is offensive in its own. Yeah, exactly. But I come from a proud family of formidable women. Well,
Sure.
A lot of us are sluts.
Okay.
In my family, it's how I got to be here, and why I have so many aunts and uncles. But yeah, women who know what they want, and also, I should say, which is something that a lot of people justifiably don't like about Lwaxana, she does not respect other people's boundaries.
Oh, no, absolutely not.
But she does it in a very specific way that I found very familiar from my aunts on the Indonesian Irish side.
Right.
Like, crossing the boundaries a very measured amount.
Okay.
Right? So we're Dutch. We grew up in Northern Europe. We don't generally do a lot of touching as part of regular conversation.
Yeah.
And a common thing among the women in my family is like to touch you or grab you by the hand or arm or wherever while having a conversation.
Right. Yeah. I had an aunt like that.
Right. And you see Lwaxana do it as well.
Yes.
Casually takes people by the arm.
Circling her finger around
Okay,
Odo's com badge.
Yeah. So that's definitely crossing a line.
Yeah.
But that's the thing that I noticed. She doesn't just keep going. She takes the boundary that you establish and gets just a little bit closer, but only one step.
Right, yes. But her insinuations soon go from insinuations to pretty much outright.
Oh, yeah. She does the whole thing where, what are you working on this desk?
I've never been with a shapeshifter before.
Been with?
That's literally what she says.
And she points out...
All the men I've known who've needed to be shaped and molded and manipulated, and finally I've met a man who knows how to do it himself.
Oh no!
Odo's like, oh no, I left a cake in the oven. Or actually, he has a con. And yes, I love that wicked grin that Lwaxana has there.
Oh yeah, she's coming on real hard. Which is not to excuse her behavior in this case, because you're right, she's touching him in ways that he hasn't consented to, and he doesn't really have an option.
Yeah, he's clearly just backing out.
Mm-hmm.
O'Brien has managed to download stuff from the computers that are on board the probe that they found, and the computer is standing to immediately showing up better behavior.
Yeah.
He's not noticed but he actually says it. Oh, well done, computer.
Yeah. He's really pleased at how well everything's going. And that's the end of that plot that just doesn't go anywhere. He was upset with the computer, and now the computer's fine, and it's okay.
Well, it kind of comes back later, but it's not a really interesting plot. It's just...
Right! I thought I'd come back to it and find something great about it.
Yeah.
But it's very formulaic, and there's not really... the resolution isn't a breakthrough or anything.
No, let's just talk about it and finish it off right now. So... The computer turns out to be infected by what they assume an alien entity is, a computer-based life form.
Yeah.
It's not a virus because why not? I mean, it sounds like a computer virus to me, but whatever. Yeah. And it likes to be at the center of attention, which is where the computer processing is done. So
reroute all main computer backup functions through this subprogram.
They keep it in the computer, and it's never mentioned again in the next 7 seasons.
No.
Yeah.
Presumably, it's destroyed at the end of, I think, season 5, when, program Cisco 197 Chief, did I get that right?
Well done, Kaki. That was the season 5 finale, program Cisco 197 to disable the computer. Very proud of you.
Obliterates the entire system when the Starfleet has to withdraw.
Oh, yes.
And the Cardassians
come back.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you'd think so. And in the meantime, that computer program causes mischief aboard the ship, which causes the turbolift to get blocked. It causes the fire to erupt, and it's all because it doesn't want O'Brien to leave ops.
Okay, that one I do genuinely like. The sort of realization that it's like a puppy, which occurs to him after 5 different people have said the word. Let me see if I've got clips for it. So here's Kira.
Maybe more like a stray puppy that's attached itself to you.
Then Dax.
Whatever it is,
here.
I guess it just doesn't want to leave. Like a scared puppy.
Yeah. So two aliens who know what puppies are. So they have some kind of equivalent in their culture.
Yes.
And then O'Brien goes, well, I had a pup once, and they also always wanted attention. Yeah, O'Brien, you also have a 4-year-old daughter.
Very good point, yes.
It's basically Molly, right?
True, yes.
I mean, that's what Cisco says.
It's almost like the computer doesn't want me to leave it alone.
You almost make it sound like a child.
But also, so we wind up within this computer. I remember seeing this the first time, 1993. I thought, the seeds are being laid for, maybe our first sentient computer.
Right,
going to come back.
I mean, that would have been great. They could have used that. Because especially since the fact that it makes the computer work a lot better than it did before.
Yeah.
So this is
isn't it?
No, all right. I mean, the puppy's clearly a pleaser. But
I read in the research that POP, in computer terminology, there's such a thing as a potentially unwanted program, also known as POP.
I never heard that one before.
No, okay.
Yeah. So Odo goes to complain to Cisco. Because
Commander, I have a problem.
Quark again?
No, sir. This one's named Lwaxana.
The problem is about 5 feet 10 tall. Frequently changes hair. Frequently changes her hair color. And
another example of Commander Cisco, as he was ranked at the time,
bugger all.
Well, listening to his like he immediately makes time, right? The door
totally.
rings and lets him in, and he invites him to say your piece, and like genuinely thinks about all these problems that he's got.
But his solution is basically take care of it and be subtle about it.
Yep.
That's literally his only, like he offers a listening aid, like comforting ear is, I believe, the phrase that I'm looking for.
Yeah.
But essentially his solution is, well, deal with it and don't fuck it up.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he listened to it. None of these are things that I can help with.
I can't really order her to leave you alone. Well, he could technically tell her, like, no, the chief of security is a very busy man, and I'd appreciate it if you let him go about his duties undisturbed, which is totally something he could ask the ambassador.
Yes, but it's also something that his officer could do for himself, and you're not supposed to like do your employee's job for them. You're supposed to protect them from, filter the pressure from outside, ensure that they have the opportunities they need to thrive, but definitely let them do their own job. And like dealing with people that want your attention is definitely a thing, because if you don't get practice, you don't get good at it.
Very true. Yeah.
Right. It's always easier when someone with more experience does it for you.
Yeah.
But that's a lost opportunity. So I really respect Sisko's attitude. You say he does call, but he does completely listen. And if there was something in there that would have been relevant to him, maybe in their relationship, I think he would have done it.
Okay.
But in the meantime,
Well, essentially,
I suggest you handle the matter with great delicacy.
I'm sorry, we were interrupted by...
Well, okay, so that might actually be the thing, because he basically gives Odo the authority to handle it.
Yes.
Odo is well, I'm not sure this is my pay grade, because she's an ambassador and I'm just a security chief. And I don't know, but he gives Odo the authority to be more firm in setting his boundaries.
Yes, I think so too.
Yeah, but try to be delicate about it. But he tells him you can and may handle this. But
and Odo admits,
I don't handle delicacy very well.
No.
And Sisko takes this, okay, so maybe you're not going to be great at it. Maybe it doesn't go great. In that case,
it's not going to be a major diplomatic incident either way,
Exactly. If you perform below what I know you to be capable of, we'll have a conversation about that in private sometime, but that's just a normal part. So, I really respect this attitude.
On his way out, back to the docking ring, he gets pounced on, basically, by Lwaxana. There you are, good.
Yeah, exactly.
I just got
She was just sitting, she picked a spot around the corner where he definitely wouldn't be able to see her. Until he was far enough away from the turbo lift.
My deleted scene leads into this moment, so we'll get back to that later.
Well, I have the most wonderful holo program, and I've reserved a suite for us with that Quark person.
You told Quark that you were going into a holo suite with me.
But oh no, unfortunately he has something to do on Upper Pylon 3.
Is that what the kids are calling it these days?
And yes, he's got an appointment, as we say in Dutch, bij de snoordrukkerij.
Madam Ambassador.
Lwaxana. Upper Pylon 3.
Which she always does.
I've always wanted to see an upper pylon.
I've always wanted to see an upper pylon. Yeah, well, you're with a shapeshifter now.
You were horrified at learning that these turbo lifts apparently don't have an interior door.
Yeah, which I should know, of course, because we see them coming up into ops. But and also the speed with which we see the various floors of this space station.
Maybe there's just a little force field there.
I
would hope so. Yeah,
because it's a cheese grater.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah, this is dangerous. I mean that it always. I won't say it freaks me out, but I'm always a little bit concerned when I'm in a lift which doesn't have an inner door.
Yeah.
So it's I'm not. There's no chance of me suddenly falling over and my fingers disappearing into that crack, but, this is
Yeah, exactly. Although they're usually larger, slow-moving, industrial elevators in that case, in which case I sometimes kind of like sort of helping to push the wall along.
Ooh, little dangerous, don't you?
I know. Yeah. Hey, you know me. Cocky,
it's been a
living
while.
on the edge.
Lwaxana is waxing lyrical about such fun she'll have one of Quark's little assistants send up the picnic basket.
Minions.
Yes. To which Odo kind of starts, he gets a little brusque, I would say.
Yes.
It's
I don't eat. This is not a real mouth. It is an approximation of one. I do not have an esophagus or a stomach or a digestive system. I am not like you.
And all I have to do is revert to my natural state every 16 hours.
I could swim.
Yeah. Again, still with the...
Because what Odo's doing is the thing that's so frustrating about dealing with people with these large boundary-crossing personalities.
Yes.
In her case, I consider her a benign force of boundary crossing. There are people who do it way worse and who do it for,
worse reasons.
Yeah, way worse reasons. She's just super interested and she wants to make absolutely sure that her invitation does not fall by the wayside.
We shall not be subtle about it.
Exactly. Life is too short, so she's learned.
Yes.
But Odo is trying to approach this by sort of deflecting her advances.
Right. Rather than outright saying no.
Yeah.
Yes.
Instead of like the intention that's there. I do not want your company.
Right.
Which is the thing that he's trying to say to her, the hint that he wants her to understand.
Right.
Without having to say it, but why not?
Sure. I mean, that's generally considered, impolite to be so direct. I mean, that's why,
true.
I mean, you don't want people to be, let down. Like, she's clearly showing interest into him, and, it'd be disappointing to someone if, you know how that feels. Like, when you're trying to make advances to someone and they're not reciprocated, and then, in generally speaking, social norms, it's, considered polite to let someone, try to make it clear that you're not interested without without having to resort to fuck off.
Yeah. The soft no, which is, of course, a culturally dependent
very much so.
strategy.
Yeah.
I think it's a question of his own personal repression.
Possible.
Like, maybe he doesn't want to admit to himself that he doesn't like being around people that want his attention more than he wants theirs.
Also possible.
And right? He hasn't articulated that. Ooh, is Odo a cat?
I suppose, in a way.
Is Odo... That's just sort of... He kind of likes people who stay away from him. He really loves Quark.
Right, because Quark doesn't to the point that he wants to be around Quark because Quark doesn't want to be around him, yes.
Right?
It kind of makes sense,
He's a cat, isn't he? Hey, Pip, you've got company.
Yeah. I mean, she sometimes is a liquid, but not a shapeshifter.
Yes, she does melt into a puddle for about 16 hours.
A day, yes. That's the other way around. The lift fails. Odo calls into ops.
Well?
Looks like the transporter's down too. But don't worry, Constable. We'll get it repaired right away.
And she communicates that with just a look back to Kira.
Yeah.
Not like, oh, wow, a very important life-saving subsystem is failing.
Yep.
Let's go follow all of these procedures. Let's inform, I don't know, sickbay.
Well, that's pretty much what they're doing, because after Lwaxana expresses her delight at being stuck here with Odo, it's like, alone at last. We literally see a scene on Ops where basically everything is being...
Oh, yes, that's true.
They're running through everything. It's like...
Everything's in working order, except nothing's working.
That's a feeling that I know very well. It's like,
really? But you work in tech.
Yeah, exactly. It's like...
You work in network science.
Everything seems to be all right. Why is it not working? Yes.
Weird.
I mean, it's like literally to say, great, everything's in working order, but nothing's working. Yeah, that's...
And Kira... who, I read in the trivia as well, this is the introduction of her one-piece uniform. She goes through many uniform changes. I was always a huge fan of, Bajoran uniforms. Because they've got this same sort of unitard kind of vibe that a lot of the Starfleet uniforms have.
Right, it reminds me a lot of, especially the uniform that the station crew wears, which we see another Bajoran who's assisting O'Brien here in this episode.
Anara.
Yeah, it's kind of very similar, if not identical, to the episode that Rom gets several seasons later when he starts working night shift engineering as well.
So I think in his case it's a one piece. I think for most males that we've seen it's loose tunic and pants.
Right.
I think Kira also had a jacket and pants previously, but now it's one piece with belt.
Yeah.
The female uniforms were belted. Oh, I think Odo at one point wore a belt as well.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Belted tunic, very fetching look.
By the way, Cardassian turbolifts run exposed multi-phased alternating currents through the positioning mechanism, so don't try to shape-shift your way out.
There you are going to get zapped. And
Besides, It wouldn't be polite.
And we get to the first of quite a few scenes where, Lwaxana is trying to get Odo to open up. At first, it's like, we'll just sit and talk. And it's like, not much of a talker. And then
in silence.
She tries to shut up for about 5 seconds. And then she goes like, sorry, I can't do this. Can I do this? It's like, sorry.
She really does her best.
Quietly.
Quietly.
Of course.
Thank you.
But I think I really need to talk.
Yeah. Yeah. And she's like, this is a great example. Because she says, she also wants him to understand, you don't have to say anything, but I do.
Yes.
I have this need, and I'm not going. I can't pretend not to, because that's going to fail, and it's going to be bad for both of us.
And she prattles onto him for a wit, and then ends up.
Oh, what are you looking at?
Nothing. I was just wondering how many volts are in that exposed circuit.
Bits.
Like, is it enough to end my tortured existence? And he goes, no, I'd probably survive.
Not only will this kill you, it'll also hurt the entire time it's killing you.
Ooh, now there's a powerful sign if anyone ever saw one. But this story that she's telling, which is about her kidnapping by Damon, whatever, in Menage a Troi, an episode that I really don't remember very well, she keeps... this is something that made me really fall in love with Lwaxana. She keeps coming back from her like harsh judgments of people.
Uh-huh.
Because it was dreadful, but...
Well, all right. It wasn't actually dreadful. It was mildly lamentable. And it was all because of that loathsome Damon.
But he wasn't...
Actually, he wasn't altogether loathsome.
Right? Like, this is such a great attitude to have about the world, and such a great way to sort of express it. Like, she sees good things in even, like, detestable people who treated her terribly.
Yeah, true.
And she finds positive spins in it, and she wants to share them with people. And, like, I'd love hearing those stories.
Cisco is having to do another bit of managing of his staff, because now it is Julian who is having a whinge at him.
They are dedicated to being unhappy and to spreading that unhappiness wherever they go. They are the ambassadors of unhappy.
And once again, he doesn't solve the problem for Julian, but he gives him the tools and the confidence and the mandate.
Well, he literally tells him that...
As a matter of fact, Curzon Dax used to take perverse pleasure in assigning me to take care of VIP guests.
And good luck. Learn to deal.
Oh, so now you take the same perverse pleasure in doing it to me.
Exactly.
I think that Jeef is probably going to get some mileage outside of this particular...
Yeah.
No. So now you take the perverse pleasure in doing it to me.
Don't hit them, Doctor.
Because...
I'm not nearly as understanding as Curzon was.
This is where O'Brien starts to cotton on that the computer's working too well.
Yeah. And he notices there's something different about the attitude.
Yeah.
That he asks Cisco. Like, can you hear it? Here, listen.
All sensors read between 14.3 and 14.4 KSC.
I don't hear anything.
No.
I think Major Blauer's doing the same thing. What's a KSC?
I don't know.
Really?
KSC?
Wait, there's a bit of like very obvious engineering/science trivia, and you just don't immediately know it?
No.
Chief, can you run a baryon sweep? I think maybe there's another changeling here.
So we're starting to allude to the fact that Odo might have problems because we don't know his schedule.
Wait, what?
Well, this is where Kira and Cisco are talking about, like...
Do you happen to know the schedule of his regenerative cycle?
My God, I have no idea. But if he doesn't get back to his pail in time...
Oh, yes. Okay, sorry. I thought you were talking about the chief.
His regenerative cycle, no.
Yeah, that's right. Which, let me see, is this where we are? Oh, yeah, Kira says...
My God, I have no idea.
That's awfully monotheistic.
Hmm?
My God.
Oh, right, yes.
He says. And I think somebody...
She should have said, by the prophets, or something like that, yes.
And Lwaxana as well.
They kind of slip up there,
My
yes.
God, I've been wigged.
I don't know how are the Bajorans mono or multi-theistic? I don't know.
Well, they have the prophets.
Yeah.
Which are not straight up deity.
I didn't mean the Bajorans, I meant Betazet.
Betazet. Oh, we have no idea what their thing is. Actually, Chief, what are the common religions on Betazet?
So, I love when there's questions like this where I keep expecting there to be just not an answer, and it's like, oh, there's nothing there. But there is one little hint. We don't have anything super major, but we do know that at one point in the season 2 episode of TNG, Lwaxana Troi does say, Deanna, darling, thank the 4 deities you're here. So there's some kind of 4 deities of Beta Z. The Sacred Chalice of Reeks does seem to be a little more like a royalty thing than like an actual religious thing. Yeah, that's about as much as I can really say without getting into like the books, which aren't really canon. I'm not getting into Star Trek books. That's complicated enough for me. There's too much Star Trek for me to be able to know already. 4 deities. That's what we know That's what we know. Betazoids have anything to do with. That's what I got for you.
Learn something new every day.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah, so this is where the chief starts to get them out, the computer program out, and it doesn't work. And in fact, it turns off all the lights on the station.
Yes.
Just the emergency lighting. Julian sees this as an excellent opportunity to try and get everybody out of his hair.
Why don't I escort you all back to your quarters, where I'm sure we can all wait this one out.
And
yeah, so that's
it'll be safe.
Great. After more snipping from the sort of Vulcan, who says,
I've been reading the reports of your chief of operations, Doctor. They gave me the impression that he was a competent engineer.
Yes.
Chief O'Brien, one of the best in Starfleet.
Then why aren't the backup systems functioning?
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate those people. They're like, you get those occasionally in the postmortems, and yeah, then after like there's a deployment and something goes wrong, and afterwards they go like, oh well, this thing that goes wrong, why wasn't it like why didn't we look at this beforehand? Why didn't nobody investigate this beforehand? It's like, because if we had known about it, we would have investigated it. It's like nice and easy to look back with hindsight and see what should have been done and ask why it wasn't done. But do you really believe that if we'd thought of it, if considered this as an option, we would have not done it? Oh, I hate those people.
Yep. Because these are questions that should be asked during a postmortem, but only productively. Right. Like, how can we ensure that this won't reoccur, right? Every safety regulation is written in blood.
Oh, yes, of course.
But it's too often used to,
blame storming.
Yes. Pulling the pin on the old blame thrower.
Yes.
And just casting it around the room to, I don't know, what's the purpose? Make yourself look better? Shame people into performing better? Does that
something
does
like that?
Work?
I have no idea, yeah. Back to the turbo lift.
Yes. Yeah. Come on, let's just stick with the turbo lift. Actually, no, let's finish the pup stuff first.
Right, we already finished that, remember?
Basically.
Yeah.
Because the idea is you could just go to shunt it off into a subroutine and then say you'll take care of it.
We'll be happy there and we'll just keep it off the furniture and...
Yep. And then, like, any child who says that, oh, I'll take care of this, I'll be totally responsible forever, sort of quietly let it fade from, like, conversation.
Until Daddy is the one who has to walk the dog at 6 in the morning.
Yeah,
and
just bury it quietly.
Oh, well, that's... I don't know. Like, I didn't have any pets as a kid, but I don't know how things went in your household.
Talking about fish.
Oh.
No, but also that, no.
So this is like the 13-year-old hamster.
Yes, amazing. Wow, it changed color so often.
Yeah. It's been molting again, yeah. So, yes.
Didn't it used to be a boy?
It's very hard to tell with hamsters.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They're one of those?
I think, for the average layperson.
Yeah. Okay, is there any redeeming feature to the pup plot line? No, but that can't be the conclusion. This is the joy of Trek. They look to us to do it. It's essentially no real stakes. Kind of. Also, like, there's personality.
What are they doing with the probe? I mean, presumably there's going to be a little bit of investigation where this thing came from, how it drifted its way through the wormhole, if there's any purpose. Like when they actually get around to boarding the thing, there might actually be this warning: do under no circumstance let this thing into your computer system.
Yeah, don't just download it into an unair-gapped part of your computer
right
network.
Yes, you really should have been InfoSec in Starfleet. It's just like terrible. Would have never happened to the Romulans. Well, no, it would have happened to the Romulans, but
yeah, only because they were trying to steal it and
exactly.
Schemes is what they like
machinations.
To do. Yes. It is very 90s sort of storytelling, and actually, like, it's emblematic. Oh, yes, I found a way. It's a next generation plotline. right? That here happens to serve the function of giving Miles O'Brien a lot to do.
Right, and of course creating the problems in the station which lead to the actual important part of this episode, which is Lwaxana and Odo in the turbo lift. Lwaxana and Odo sitting in a turbo lift.
TURBO. No, that doesn't work.
No, not really, unfortunately.
Okay, let's just give up on it.
But yes, Lwaxana goes like
where this whole episode takes
enough
place.
about me, and you can see Odo heave a relieved sigh. But no, unfortunately, now we're going to start talking about Odo.
And she does the right thing, which is to ask him about himself.
Yes,
and listen when he explains. She asks, "Is that real hair?" And he explains,
"It is real in that it is me. It is not real hair."
And she asks him, like, was it difficult? And she does this a few times, where she asks for his experience, or she sort of empathizes that that must have been difficult for you.
Yeah,
like she's active listening, and she really wants to imagine like the experience that he's had. She wants to be with him, which is probably not something that Odo's used to, coming from a place of empathy.
Yes,
I was always very self-sufficient.
I'm sure you had to be. To survive. Being so different from everyone else.
And he immediately goes, "Oh, this don't want to talk about this." Like quickly, like starts tapping his comm badge, like nopes out of this conversation. But unfortunately,
no chance.
The comms are down still, so unfortunately, he is still stuck and having to confront his feelings and actually talking about them.
If it bothers you to talk about this,
not at all.
He lies.
Oh, I remember which book it was. I saw a screenshot. I saw a photo of a page from a paperback book from the original series, and the quote was from Spock: "Vulcans do not lie. He lied."
Yeah.
Because he talks about, and I think this is the first time that we learn it in Deep Space Nine, that he grew up in a laboratory, essentially.
Yeah.
Although he says it wasn't like growing up, merely the transition from what I was to what I learned to be, he says specifically.
Because, yes, he modeled himself after the scientist that studied him.
Yes.
I found I could be entertaining. Odo, be a chair. I'm a chair. Odo, be a razor cat. I'm a razor cat. Life of the party.
And that's why
I hate parties.
This line to me is something that really sticks with me in a very powerful way, because for me this does kind of remind me of a lot of the times when I mention my very minor disability of being colorblind, and the very immediate response is, "What color is that? What color is that? What color is that? What color is that?" and playing a game of it. So really this line I think is very familiar to people with certain disabilities or just differences in perception, where you really just start to see like you're othered and treated just as that. So that line very much sticks with me.
And then come a few lines which, regrettably, in my technology are kind of separated, so I'm going to have to tap them individually. But these lines like bring a tear to my ear every time, because they're so meaningful. Because she hears that he hates parties, and, well...
Perhaps you've been going to the wrong ones. Come to one of mine, Odo.
And then my absolute favorite line...
I'll make sure that all the guests are there to entertain you.
Yeah.
What a thing to say to someone.
Yes. Like, yes, well, you have a good reason why you hate parties, but I'll give you a party that's, well, basically thrown in your honor rather than where you are there as the entertainment. Whether you intended that or not.
Yeah, exactly. And that's something that she can totally do. She probably has like tons of friends that she can call on for exactly this reason. Hey, I just made friends with this total beta who needs... No, that's hugely judgmental, but I kind of like the idea...
Bring the cock chair.
Yeah, exactly. He probably likes that. Come on, let's make it interesting.
Oh, no, be the cock chair. Oh, no! Anyway.
Be a cock chair. I'm a cock chair. I'll be a razor dildo. I'm a razor dildo.
Oh, God, no.
And he admits then that he's not doing well.
Right, that he's in hour 15 of his regenerative cycle, and he's got about an hour left before he will have to revert.
Things go bad with the program.
Yada, yada,
fire.
yada.
Like, oh, actually, here's something we could talk about. they have these corridor sets, and they sure did set one right the f*** on fire.
Oh, yes.
That's an expensive special effect.
The Doctor is returning the ambassadors to their quarters, and when there's a plasma conduit vent or something, a plasma explosion in corridor H12A guest quarters. Boom!
There you go.
No fire suppression. And Bashir is also, yes, left with the same problem that the manual door override is not overriding.
You think he's trying to get away from them, not the fire?
Oh, of course.
Oh, poor Alexander Siddig. Like, a lot of pressure was placed on him to make it look exciting when he's just pressing buttons that don't actually move.
No.
And still being like very vigorously pressing those buttons on the side panel on the door.
Sisko and Kira go running towards the scene of the accident, bringing manual fire extinguishers. And
Open
they try
fire
to
on the door.
burn their way through the door, but alas, no.
Terranium inlay, Cardassian design. I should have guessed. We're going to need a bipolar torch to get through it.
Frankly, they didn't know this yet, but again, problem needs to be solved, blah, blah, blah. This is where more puppy stuff. And now we get to the scene.
Yeah.
Where Odo is in bad straits. He's looking very pasty, I suppose. Very wet.
As well.
Yes. And he's keeping his back turned towards Lwaxana. Okay, so I'm going to have to ask a little bit about
All
this.
right.
So he's clearly not shy about transforming in front of someone. He does it.
To a certain degree.
He does it frequently.
He's
usually when doing his reveal that he was watching all the time. So
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. We've also seen him go into his pail.
Yeah.
Several times. He was sometimes he was forced to do it, but again, he does it in front of people. So what is the specific part that he's not that he's embarrassed or concerned about?
Well, of course, we remember Deep Space Nine the way the prophets do. Like we have a non-linear experience. This is just episode 17. I don't think we've even seen his bucket at this point. I think this is the first time we've heard of Dr. Mora, who researched him, and from whom he got the hairstyle. But I think, and Chief, maybe stand by with a bit of dialogue. There has been a bit where he talked about he can pass most of the time as a solid, and he that makes him comfortable in this world which is for solid bipeds. But that bucket he associates with otherness,
right?
And with the experience of people looking at him in his gelatinous state, his natural state, and that's how changeling normally are. And then they don't look at him like they normally do.
Right. Okay.
He likes how they look at him when they consider him.
No, it wasn't a criticism. It was a genuine question.
No, exactly.
I was trying to examine what part of it, the whole process is the source for his, let's call it embarrassment or reluctance to.
No, shame.
Show.
Shame.
Shame's
That's
one,
involved in there. It doesn't have to be rational.
But yes,
I mean, toilet stuff, pooping and peeing. Perfectly normal.
True.
Everyone does it.
Yeah.
And yet we don't like to be watched.
No, absolutely.
While doing it.
Yeah. Very true.
Unless it's a kink or whatever, but
And remember, we don't kink shame here.
Exactly.
Unless you're into being embarrassed, in which case you're a dirty little pervert and you should be ashamed of yourself.
Oh God, Lwaxana would be so good. Oh my God, Lwaxana definitely throws fucking kink ragers. Can you imagine her fetish parties? Completely indistinguishable from her regular galas. Same number of gowns and wigs.
Wow. Yes. No. True. But yes, so she tries to make it easier to him, and he says you can't, and then she shows herself what's this? It's it's my hair.
Did you get what she was handing to him?
Oh yeah, of course.
Because it comes in off the frame. Well, and we know this scene as such an important one.
Yeah. So I don't remember the first time I saw it, so I can't reply for that. Yeah, she stands there with her hair tight, black hair tight against her head.
Yeah, she keeps it short and back, which is
I mean, if you're wearing a wig, that's
yeah, it's very convenient, and very hygienic.
And we get that line about
no one's ever seen me like this.
So he says,
it looks fine.
It looks ordinary.
And
I've never cared to be ordinary.
Yeah.
And here we understand Lwaxana.
Oh yes, absolutely. I mean, I'm sure that Mr. Hom has seen her like that. But again, that's the scientist. That's the help. That doesn't count. Nobody.
Okay, that's very classic.
I know, but...
Yeah, okay. Well, I guess... maybe it's circumstantial.
Right.
right? The difference between nakedness and nudity.
Yes, right.
Right?
Yeah.
Nudity, you just don't have any clothes on.
Yeah.
Naked, you don't have as many clothes on as you should have in this circumstance, right? In European cultures, bathing and swimming was traditionally done in the nude until the church had something to say about that. And it was just like in a culture where a woman showing a glimpse of ankle beneath the hem of her skirt was a scandal. But, everybody's got their boobs and willies out when you go swimming.
Yeah, and I mean, nude is just naked, but pants around your ankles is exposed.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
But the fact that she says, I've never cared to be ordinary is so, like, I think I've talked about this before. The love that I have of Lwaxana as a character, how interesting I think she is, and how, while she definitely crosses people's boundaries, and a lot of people can be uncomfortable with that, I think that's because, like, much less of a character flaw of hers and, like, an overcorrection. She probably lives in a very small world.
Well,
like, for her tastes. The number of people in her life that she actually respects and finds interesting.
Oh, of course, yes.
Quite limited compared to some of
Yeah, she's got a huge social life, but a very limited, close-knit circle of friends, I would think.
Yeah, and most of those are probably, like her, very, very important in their title, but they all know they're not very important. Like when she goes to the Enterprise, I'm sure that she writes in her diary that those are the best days of her year.
Yeah.
My daughter has such an important job, and she works with so many interesting people, and she's learning things all the time.
I get to annoy Picard again.
Because he's wonderful. He's smart and empathetic, and I only get to spend like a few hours with him, so I want as much attention from him as, oh wow, she's just like Pop.
Yes, I guess in a way she is, yeah.
She's also, like, not so much starved for attention, but she doesn't like to waste the opportunities that she has. And now she found another person, because she's an excellent judge of character.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
She finds the people who are the most interesting and the most worthwhile. Of course she's attracted to that. But all of this is to make him more comfortable. Because she understands that even without being able to read her, I don't know that she's able to use her empathic abilities.
We don't know if that works on him or not. Yeah. But yes, he finally gives her the biggest compliment she ever had, she professes, and he allows himself to relax.
Yeah.
And she catches him in her dress.
That compliment, by the way?
Yeah.
You are not at all what I expected.
That's the thing that she looks forward to.
Right. She wants to be seen as, different, I guess.
I think she does like to surprise people.
Yes, absolutely. That she does. Cut to the pup stuff. No interesting. Yeah, it's
pup stuff. Suddenly you get, I know for sure we have some Kingsters in our listening audience who go, is this relevant to me? Oh no, it's just Borba.
And
just fucking Pound Town with K. Although it is a little bit. Like, look at this set. They've really messed this set up and put a bunch of lights through there. And
they're walking through the charred remains of the corridor.
Yeah, so they just opened up into this disaster area, and in walks the commanding officer and the first officer with no gloves, breathing equipment, anything.
This is the area which was just on fire. Probably lots of asbestos on Cardassian stations.
Yeah, but it might be nice asbestos.
Plus there has been just like lots of fire suppressant chemicals being released into the atmosphere. Absolutely.
We're just hats, gloves, ropes. God, the Geordie.
Hard hats, breathing masks,
My God.
But everything's fine. It looks dire for a moment. Oh no, he's like,
we'd better inform Starfleet Command.
And Sisko's like, shit, I'm gonna have to write one of those letters again. But no,
I'll just use one of the form ones.
Open pops a hatch, and out come the ambassadors, who are all, they are so like.
Please, Julian, call me Tasco.
Ambassador, are you all right?
Yes, thanks to Julian.
And even the Vulcan uptight one.
The doctor was remarkably calm and logical for a man of his years.
Yes.
Under such severe conditions.
Look at that.
Yeah.
And I think it's the same thing again. I think much like Lwaxana, I think they probably also lead lives that are smaller than they wish they were.
Yeah, possible.
And they take great delight in seeing interesting and competent people, and they're not afraid to say so, which I really, really respect.
Odo's back to his normal shape and says his goodbyes to Lwaxana.
Your sensitivity and discretion are appreciated.
And she can't help but getting a little
Yeah,
move in and right at the end.
Next time you see me, I'll give you a lot more to appreciate.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. She can still swim.
And you see the grin on his face.
Oh, yes.
Because this is something that I recognized from my childhood as well. Like the moment when I learned to understand how to deal with my aunts and realizing that, yes, they cross those boundaries, but always by a really measured amount. Right? And so you can actually sort of deal with that. You know what's happening. You know, it's not going to be further than that. You can feel safe with people
Right.
that have these habits that you're comfortable with. And he feels safe with her. He knows that he can trust her with whatever is going to come up.
Yes, that she's got his back and she is discreet.
And he's richer for it. He's learned like a form of interaction that he's never had before.
Yes, very true.
No one's ever been as interested in him as she was just now.
Well, not in this way.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
As a person.
Yeah.
Which is what she sees.
So here we get the scene where O'Brien promises to take care of it and he'll feed it and he'll water it and he'll take it out for walkies. And
Definitely take it out for walkies.
Unfortunately, we never hear from it again.
No. Dax does point out...
It's just another new life form visiting the station.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Which I think ultimately turns out is not the best fit for Deep Space Nine.
No.
So I think this was still in the first season, so sort of discovering what can this show be, right? How different can we get from the Next Generation, which was in its 5th, 6th season, Chief?
Next Generation was midway through its 6th season when DS9 began airing.
Thank you. But also, like, yeah, how close do we get? Do we want to do those plots? And this was very much a Next Generation plot.
Oh, yes, very much so.
Which I guess would have played better there. I mean, it probably would have had more ensemble work.
Yes.
On the Next Generation rather than making it a Miles show.
I'm really quite interested in finding out in how much of the Odo Lwaxana was intended as a B plot rather than
as filler.
As filler rather than, or maybe even comic relief. And it turns out to be really profound episode about Lwaxana and Odo for that matter.
Yeah,
and especially in my opinion, it really that is the A plot line of this entire episode, and the rest is just kind of filler. But I don't think it was intended that way by the showrunners.
You know, considering the focus on character in Deep Space Nine, that might actually have been the case. I know this went through a bunch of rewrites and it's credited to. Like Michael Piller did a lot of writing on it. I think like Guild rules required it to be credited to the person whose name now escapes me. Oops, Chief, what was the writer for this episode?
So the writer for this episode was story by Jim Trombetta, teleplay by Don Carlos Dunaway and Michael Piller.
Thank you. This may have been like, hey, it's Star Trek. We need to get the punters in the door, and that means a computer thing or a space thing or whatever. But what we really want to do is develop Miles and develop Odo.
Oh, yeah.
Imagine if that was the approach. We need someone to pull Odo out of his shell. Lwaxana?
Yeah.
We've still got Lwaxana lying around.
Yes. That's a character we can use, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
and
it works with Picard.
And it really, for the same reasons, because you've got a very outgoing Lwaxana and a naturally reserved Picard and Odo.
Yep.
So very much, not a bad call. It's like, why don't we pull a Lwaxana on Odo like we do it, like we do with Picard?
Because who would be the worst person for Odo to be stuck in an elevator with?
Right, yes.
Like not Quark. He loves Quark.
Right, yes.
Right? They'd have a great time.
Yeah, they'd be like, sniping at each other the entire time, and they'd have, like a good laugh.
Oh, yeah. I mean, neither of them would admit to enjoying it.
Of course not, but yes.
They would grumble about it in their diaries, but they certainly wouldn't learn anything from it. I turned off awfully loud.
You have turned it off loud, yes.
Okay, well, it'll be taken care of by the Chief.
All right.
So, who did you think was...
So fucking cool.
As if I need to ask, as if it won't be...
Oh, who do you think I'm...
Unanimous?
What do you think I'm going to say?
It's got to be Lwaxana, right?
No. What? I mean, Lwaxana is fantastic, but the absolutely so fucking cool person in this episode for me is O'Brien's assistant, because she routed all the network traffic through the... instead of routed, because like you're not digging a hole in it with a piece.
Oh my God! Oh, okay, I'm pulling that up. Let me see.
If we were on a starship, I'd reroute the EPS power flow in a couple of hours.
Yeah, and he does.
Rerouted the EPS power
flow. Is it wrong?
Reroute all main computer backup
He
functions.
says it good.
All backup functions rerouted.
Okay, so we go back and forth.
Well, O'Brien gets it wrong once. And, sorry, that's
Interesting.
That's just a personal peeve of mine.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, like a routing is a piece of network equipment. A router is a piece of woodworking equipment.
Yes. But both are fine because we... Yeah.
It's just my little pet peeve.
See, I have a very limited set of pet peeves that I support because in most cases, language is what is understood, right? What is understood is how it's supposed to be said. But sometimes it doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah.
Like, I could care less. Okay, that's idiomatic.
Yes.
It's changed from I couldn't care less to I could care less. Fine, but it doesn't make any fucking sense.
No, it doesn't.
It means the opposite of what the.
No, I agree. I mean, technically, you could have a network router if you're pulling physical cables and you're digging a groove in the wall to get those cables. That would be a network router. But
Oh, there's also the military route that you routed the the enemy.
But that's
is that also the sort of same thing? Is this a scooping?
Well, no, when they're routed, it's like it's an uncoordinated retreat. I believe is a is a route.
A rapid unplanned disassembly.
Right, RUD. Yeah, that's. All right. So what's your Lwaxana, of course. Yes.
Actually, I really like that you picked Anara. Like she was built up gradually in the series, and I think in the season 1 finale she had quite a lot to do. But that sort of set the tone for DS9 to have this huge ensemble, also of like ancillary characters that get built up, and maybe they get something to do, maybe not. Pattern that Voyager adopted to great success. With the same kind of community feel that you just see some familiar faces every now and again. But yes, for me it's. Not even Lwaxana, Majel Barrett.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Her sensitivity and her like commitment to this role, every time she brings out something new.
Yes. So.
And every time that she's herself, that she's Lwaxana, the big, large person, she's the most fascinating thing on the screen.
Ah, absolutely.
Right. Can't look away. So as for your...
Captain's log supplemental,
which I'm really interested in.
All right, so this is like all of these troubles on DS9 are attributed to the computer alien.
Right.
However, the turbo lift and the failure of the transporter. The reason Lwaxana was hiding behind the turbo lift is because she was like she was sabotaging the turbo lift in order to get it.
She was sitting there sort of knocking on the door. Computer, which one shouldn't I cross?
Yeah, exactly.
So I shouldn't cross those. Okay, great. Awesome.
Exactly. So that's my deleted scene.
Oh, wow. Then she had like a full body coverall, like protecting herself from all the sparks and welding goggles, and just quickly stripped out of those just to no.
Do a James Bond, reverse James Bond, where the tuxedo turns into a cat burglar suit, the other way around. Quick change outfit for
Then I think
log supplemental.
The deleted scene that I think just barely didn't make it in for time was like, it was right at the very end. All's well that ends well. We're in ops. O'Brien promises to take care of the pup and don't get it on the furniture.
Yeah.
And sort of smiles as he looks back at his console, and he puts down his coffee cup. Subroutine deleted. And his face just...
Wow.
And nobody noticed. Okay.
Nobody.
I just accidentally killed.
If anybody goes and asks me about it, I'll just like, oh yeah, no, it's still in there. It's fine.
Still in there. It's fine. I'm entertaining it. Sort of tasking.
You see this little Tamagotchi display in the background die, and it's
oh no, that's way too grim. I can't do that.
Okay.
I can't do that. Let me see. Oh yes. It just empties itself out in the communications buffer and just goes along with the next courier ship that goes wherever.
It just gets like set by subspace communications to whatever the next outgoing.
As soon as it gets bored, which is very quickly, then it just FedEx itself.
Flushed into the mail queue and sent to Bajor on the next datacom transfer.
Ooh, what's here? Ooh, there's lots of stuff going on here.
Nice. Okay, so what do we have in store for next week?
Yes.
Next time on an all-new episode of Star Trek.
As always, our chief engineer has reached into his bag of recommendations, from which we got today's recommendation from friend of the show, Rugger. Hey, thank you so much for sending this in. And like the praise that they heaped on this episode, like one of the finest scenes in all of Star Trek or sci-fi, which I fully agree with. Like, you take, I think Majel Barrett and Renee Auberjonois are like some of the best actors Star Trek has ever seen. But many other listeners have sent in their recommendation, which you can do at joyoftrek.com/links, where you can also find the entryway to our Patreon, where should you find it in your heart to want to financially help us keep these lights on, yes, exactly, then you can support us on Patreon. You will get GIF packs from every episode that my beloved co-host prepares for you with great care.
That reminds me, I need to get on it with it for next week.
I've noticed that you like to pick the ones with severe double entendres in the subtitles.
Oh, well, yes.
And now you take great pleasure in doing it to me. I think that's probably going to wind up in there, so you can enjoy those, as well as a monthly bonus episode where we pierce the veil of the temporal vortex that separates us from the Chief. And we watch something together, usually an episode of Star Trek that the Patreon subscribers have voted on because they really want to hear us talk about and or through it.
It's usually an episode that we've recently covered on the show.
Exactly. So if you want to find out what we really think about them, come join us on the Patreon or send us your recommendation, stilljoyoftrek.com/links, and let's see what clues we have for the episode recommended for us next time.
Stupid futuristic weaponry.
Oh.
It's got to be lower decks.
Yeah, sounds like it. Could
right?
be, yeah.
That's very lower decks.
Live logs and proper.
Ooh. No, it sounds more like Protostar thingy.
Prodigy.
Prodigy, this.
Oh, interesting.
Great. My survival's riding on chasing down a cure, and my doctor's making it up on the fly.
Okay, maybe not.
Yeah, they don't have a doctor in Prodigy.
No.
Ensign promised that one day Starflight will come and rid us of the evil.
Oh, I think I know this.
Okay.
I think it's Prodigy.
It is Prodigy. Okay.
Yeah, you haven't seen Prodigy, have you?
I have not. No.
Okay, we got one more clue.
If this thing goes sideways, promise me a royal Tellurite funeral.
Yeah. Tellurite,
okay,
that's definitely got to be
Prodigy.
Jack and Pog. And I think I know which episode it is, but I don't actually know how to name it. So let's find out.
The episode is Prodigy 113, All the World's a Stage.
Oh!
Yes, there we go. Very good.
I appreciate your enthusiasm for something that you have not seen. Sort of with the same tone of someone who laughs along with a joke that they didn't quite get, but
you know what they say? He who laughs last didn't get the joke.
But wow, what an amazing recommendation. I'm like, the animated series of Star Trek gets so little
love.
Yes, yeah, and they're really fantastic, especially Prodigy.
I would say I've enjoyed every episode of Prodigy that I've seen so far. So,
that's amazing. Well, then we just have one more thing.
Mm-hmm.
The hell is this?
I'm leaving Starfleet.
Energize!
We hope you've enjoyed this week's episode with your friends Kay and Kaki, production and editing by your chief engineer Greg, and music by Fox Amore. Join us next time for Prodigy 113, All the World's a Stage. Visit joyoftrek.com/links to send us a recommendation, support us on Patreon, or to find us on Twitter. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you for listening to The Joy of Trek, and we'll see you out there.